Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0. Now, it really wasn't a good performance. It really wasn't what everybody expected. It really wasn't what Manchester United fans were hoping for in this game. VAR controversy afoot. Manchester United awful again after the first 15 to 20 minutes. Lucky Manchester United. VAR to the rescue. We're going to delve into those decisions during this live stream with you. We are going to take some calls. We've got Cam, we've got KJ backstage ready to come on. Of course, I'm joined by the panel in here. But as we always do at the beginning of these match reactions, it's about what you think. It's about what you feel. I want to know how you're feeling about this. Get your comments in here. And we see a lot of this here as we're putting up on the screen. Robbed is what we see here from Mo as an example. When will the match fixing stop is what BS has got to say. Robbery is what you see from Natty. Rashford is finished. We will be talking Marcus Rashford on today's show. You can rest assured of that. We are speaking Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes on this show. No passion, more robbed. They've got this one here from Mo again. Aston Villa were cheated is what a lot of you are saying. It's what a lot of people think and feel and believe. Get your views in now, people. We want to hear from you. Of course, we always prioritize member chats and super chats where we see them. Liverpool fans in the mud. We will touch on that a little bit later on in the show, or maybe on the BV show tomorrow. See what time we've got. VAR done its job is what E-Boss says here. I'm not too sure if he's having a pop at Man United or not. Just want to say a big shout out today as well, now that we're getting numbers in. Today we are sponsored by Boohoo Man. You can see their logo just down there below me. I think is that it? Yeah. There we go. Just there, Boohoo Man. The link's pinned to the live comment section and in the description below. If you use that link or promo code TFT10, whatever discounts you see already on their website, you can get a further 10% off if you use promo code TFT10 when you're checking out on Boohoo Man. So go and get that done after the show. Don't leave now. Go and buy yourself a little bit of clobber, a bit of clothing, ready for the new year, and get an extra discount courtesy of yours truly. All the players have the right. What's it say here? All players have the right to their positions on the field of play. Being in the way of an opponent is not the same as moving in the way of your opponent, is what Porcelain says, who is an Aston Villa fan. And we will delve into that in a little bit more detail later on in the show. David here says, Villa unlucky, but VAR was correct. Foul on Cavani and Probs offside with the possible handball. We were crap today, but got it done. Sorry, but Rashford, very bad tonight, and the attitude is not normal there, is what's being said. Frank Robbery, that's actually one of the best comments we've had on the Football Terrace in a long time, and a lot of people would agree. We're still seeing a lot of robbed. Aston Villa robbed. Red card for sure should have happened, is what YRG has got to say. Man punched him in the face, bleeding, no pen. People diving for the smallest contact penalties, is what Natty's got to say. People are crying again, is what Pav's got to say in the comment section. So lots of comments coming through here. We will go to the panel real soon. The substitutions were too late, is what Simp's got to say. And I would happen to agree with you. I would happen to agree with you on that. I do think the substitutions are too late today by Ralph Rangnick. And look, from my point of view, the first 15 minutes were great. I was really happy. We conceded, Villa attack well. They created chances against Liverpool, Man City under Steven Gerrard. We know they're a good attacking team. But we played with intensity. We were working the ball down the flanks. We were driving at fullbacks. We were putting dangerous crosses into the box. We were getting ourselves corners and opportunities out of it. We scored the early goal, which doesn't happen too often for Man United. What you then want to see from that point is Man United go to that next level. What you want to see from that point is Manchester United up their game and go at Aston Villa. You want to see Manchester United show some bravery at Old Trafford in front of their home fans, and it didn't happen. For the remainder of the game, we fell apart. We were pulled apart, we were battered, and we were played off the park again. 4 games running now. 5 games running now. Norwich, Newcastle, Wolves, Villa, that's 4, Terry. 4 games running. We've been absolutely outplayed. The fact that we've won 3 of those games 1-0 is purely because, one, our opponents missed chances. So I think we actually drew 1-1 with Newcastle, to be fair. So I apologize for that. We won 1-0, against Palace, and we weren't very good for the second half of that game. We just thought we ran out of steam. We won 3 games 1-0 and drew 1-1. That's because our opponents were missing chances. And we have an abundance of talent on our field that is able to get us over the line at times. David De Gea pulling off saves. Good moments, of course. Varane, actually, I thought was very, very good today. But this team lacks intensity. It lacks work rate, and it cannot handle pressure. Manchester United Football Club cannot handle pressure in any way, any shape, or any form. Pressure either can create diamonds or it can burst pipes. And Man United flood every single game. Villa will be sitting in that dressing room and they're not going to know what happened. They're going to wake up. Danny Ings is going to wake up tonight. Gerrard is going to wake up tonight in a cold sweat. He's going to wake up in a cold sweat. He's going to look around and he's going to say to himself, how did this happen? He's going to be like, how have I been in this position? How is it plausible that we battered Man United at Old Trafford and we didn't score a goal? How is it that we were the better team by a country mile and we're out of the FA Cup in the 3rd round? Manchester United now go up against Middlesbrough, could see themselves through to the 5th round. But you know what? If we play like that against Middlesbrough, there's a damn good chance they could win the game as well. It was woeful. It was abysmal. It was terrible. And there is absolutely no forgiving it. You cannot forgive that level of performance. You cannot create any level of excuses for that type of performance today. And for me, I have to call out the worst player on the pitch tonight, Marcus Rashford. Poor in possession, bad decision-making, zero execution. Started the game well like everybody else did, but absolutely faded. And you saw him sitting on the bench. And I don't think it's because he's not trying. I don't think it's because he's one of the bad eggs at the club that's trying to drive himself out, or I actually don't even think he's one of the players that's refusing to work. He is just, for one reason or another, some of you are going to say it's because he's always been this bad. Some of you are going to believe it's because his form's bad, his head's not in the right place. Irrespective of why, Rashford should not be starting games. And I know there's a little bit of a mini injury crisis at the back, but up front, we've got players available. And I know Sancho's out. We know that we don't know how long Ronaldo is going to be out for. And Mad might be going out on loan. I would look at not loaning out a Mad. And I'll be looking at Elanga as an example if Jadon Sancho is out. It doesn't look like Martial's getting back into the squad for whatever reason. Maybe after the January window. But Marcus Rashford needs to be dropped. He cannot stay in this Manchester United team any longer. He doesn't deserve to be in this team. He's making the team worse. I think it's damaging himself. Every game he plays, he seems to go further and further and further and further backwards. There's no doubt about it at all. And it's painful to watch. You know, it's absolutely painful to watch a player who at times has shown top-class form. There's been times where his goal scoring and his outputs have been insanely good. You know, one of the top 2, top 3 performers from an outputs point of view in Europe from that left inside forward position 2 years running. But right now, he isn't performing. There are some of you that will say, you know what, Terry, I've always told you he's bang average. And maybe, look, if he doesn't come out of this rut and this is Rashford forever, then you were right. But I'm not concerned about who is right or wrong. I'm concerned about the performances of my football team. He wasn't the only one today. There were lots of people that need a long, hard look in the mirror. There are a lot of people that need to check themselves here. The fullbacks today, giving the ball away needlessly. Lindelof's decision-making was poor. But everybody, Greenwood for me isn't too far behind where Rashford is now in terms of his decision-making on the pitch. 3 or 4 times he cuts inside on his left. Awful pea shooter shots at the goalkeeper where maintaining possession or playing your teammates through was the better option. And that didn't happen. And this is becoming more and more consistent with Manchester United. Rashford, of course, he deserves to be dropped, but let us not take our attention away from the other poor performances. Bruno Fernandes was another today who absolutely needs to be out of this team. Donny not starting games is becoming a major problem. Not because Donny might not even be the best trainer. Maybe Donny does lack a little bit of physicality based on what reports have said. but he can't do any worse than what Bruno Fernandes is doing in that team right now. So as a Man United fan, when I look at this, I can't do anything other than say that Rangnick's also making big mistakes by continuing to play 2 or 3 players that are out of form. He's persisting with a shape that isn't working for Manchester United. And look, we're very lucky to go through to the 5th round. There's no doubt. We're very lucky indeed. The top 4 race looks like it's fading away. And there's nothing in this performance now. 5 games running where you take nothing away from a performance point of view that makes you feel like that there could be light at the end of the tunnel. It is more doom and gloom for Manchester United fans, although the game was won. Well, that's how I feel anyway. I want to go to some of your super chats that have come through here. McTominay deserved man of the match. No one else took their chances, is what David T says. We robbed it because they should have scored regardless of the VAR decision. And I agree that they missed some good chances. They were the better team. Get rid of Bruno. He's rubbish. Villa robbed. And I'm a Man United fan, is what Mark's got to say. Rivals crying. Both goals rightfully disallowed. No controversy at all. Definitely outplayed. But stop this robbery talks. Stinks of desperation. And Aiden here says, so Deadwood or Trashford actually know, do Deadwood or Trashford actually know how to cross is the question that's come in there on the super chats. And no, make sure like buttons are being hit. As I say, we've got our panel here with us. We've got man like Latimer's Prime in the house. How you doing, bro?
I am so happy.
We'll come to you in a second. We've also got 2 big reds in here as well, in Banks and Lias. Gents,
what are you saying?
Weird night, right? Weird night.
Not so happy.
It's painful. It's painful to watch United, man. It ain't fun. It ain't fun.
Bro, we can't even be happy after wins.
We can't. There's no reason to be happy because we know we're gonna get popped the next match if we play like that.
Well said. I can't add anything else to that.
Why is this team not improving though, gents? Why is it still this bad?
We might have to just consider the fact that some of these players just can't adapt to new tactics. We saw with Ole, he didn't like, he always gave the emphasis to the players to go create something, go do it yourself, I trust you. You've now got some tactical instruction coming from Rangnick. And they're not taking it in at all. Like, I don't want to believe there's such bad people that a new manager's coming and they're just flat out refusing to listen to what he says. I don't want to believe that. I believe they're professionals and they're trying to take it in. But whatever's happening on the training ground is not translating to the football pitch. Whatever's happening at Carrington is not translating to Old Trafford. That's the disconnect. Wherever Rangnick comes in a press conference and he says, oh, I'm coaching them, I think they're listening. They're not. They're either listening and not doing it on the pitch, or they're just not listening. There's a disconnect right now. And I don't know how to solve that. When you look at it, you just don't see. They've had a week of training, a week to coach this formation that Rangnick has stuck with. A week, nothing's changed. Nothing. We still can't put together 45 minutes, let alone 90. That's a problem.
There's a major problem at this club, and people are going to look at the manager. People are looking at the players. Bro, I don't know what it is. Honestly, I'm so lost for words with Manchester United at this moment. I have no clue what is going on a weekly basis at Carrington. I have no clue what's being told from the managers to the players. I have no clue if these players want to play under the manager. I have no clue whether these players are good enough. I have no clue whether Rangnick is being let down or whether he's just not cut out for this level. There is something seriously wrong at this club. And I look at players like Rashford and Bruno. There is something seriously wrong with them right now. Whether you think they're good or bad players, this is not a normal level to be playing at right now. They are not this bad. Some of these players are not as bad as they're performing at. And
even Bruno, I believe
have no clue, man.
Even Bruno, even when he was banging goals and getting assists and all the numbers were there, I never really took him in as a player. Like, I still believed that you can't win playing this type of football. But what he's doing now is worse than anything I've ever seen from him before. Like, even the basics of 5-yard passes, the flicks, like, he's brain dead. But what I'm seeing from him recently, this is criminal. It's criminal.
Do you know what? You both pull on great points, and this is where I don't. I feel like people want to take this form and they're using it as confirmation bias to drive home an opinion they gave a month ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. And it ain't about that for me. I'm focusing on Man United because Rashford may not. He may not ever get to the level that some believed he could have been. And I'm one of those people that felt like he had the ability. 2 or 3 years ago, I sat around saying he has the ability, if he keeps progressing and working hard, to reach tier 1 level and be an absolute star. But the level he's performing at now is worse than anybody said he was.
Yeah.
So Lies is right. Bruno as well. As bad, like when we were bad under Ollie, we're losing them games. Nobody was gloating because no one predicted we'd be that bad. And it was like it's below that. And there's a comment here from Josh that says, to use Ralph's terminology, the players are lacking competence in applying the manager's concepts. The coaches who follow his philosophy use different formations. It's time Ralph adapted.
Maybe.
And I think there's an element here on Ralph. There's an element here on the players. There's an element of everything that needs to be looked at here, because we're not getting battered like we were in those last few games under Ollie, but the performances are not much better at all. And there's this Man United team is on course for a hiding soon. We are on course soon to play a team who are going to put 4, 5, 6 goals past us, because we are hanging on by a thread in these matches. And yes, Rashford and Bruno are bad, but the thing is, it isn't just them.
Fact.
It's every single player. Like we saw Delo today twice play balls. Like he did it with great technique, but giving the ball away just as much and just as regularly as AWB does. And AWB also deserves to be out of this team. But the issue's bigger. Like you're watching this as a rival, Ram. Like I know there's banter, but why do you think they look so terrible?
It can't all just be coaching because you have a better manager. It's mentality. Because a lot of these players, yes, they're talented. Rashford, Greenwood, etc. All of that played, but it's just mentality and lack of effort. Because Aston Villa, player for player, they're not better than you.
Do you think today was a question of lack of effort or mentality? I truly don't believe so, bro. I didn't see any players today that I thought were cutting their weight. Can you name me any players like in particular that you thought weren't trying hard enough?
Or weren't playing well?
No, forget not playing well. I'm talking about mentality, or they didn't want it enough. I honestly don't think that was the issue today. I look at shape. I look at organization. I look at players not knowing where they're supposed to be. I look at players who can't complete 3-yard passes.
But playing a 3-yard pass, that's not a tactical issue. That's not a shape issue. But that's not playing a 4
maybe it's a confidence issue. But my point is, I don't think I didn't look at these players today and think they weren't trying hard enough or there's not enough intensity. They just look lost.
But why is that then?
I have no idea.
No, listen, we're going to speak to Cam. Cam's going to come on, Canadian Cam, big Man United fan, to have his say on the terrace. He's got an appointment that he's got to shoot off to, so we're going to get him on to have his say now. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. The stream's being shared. You're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Let's do this. How you doing, Cam? We win, but we play badly again. Give me your thoughts, bro. And by the way, that is a serious moustache. Well done.
Thank you. Trying it out. Okay, I got a few things. I'm gonna stop being like, I get it. You guys can be upset. Be upset. We played terrible. We didn't play great. But if we can't smile after W's, then what's the point of watching? Listen. I get it. No, that's, you can do your thing. Do your thing. I'm not telling you how to support, but if you can't come out of a win, even if it was scrappy, it was ugly, whatever, and be like, I at least won the game, then stop watching, in my opinion, because you're just going to be depressed. Listen, 6 months. We have 6 months with a manager who's not supposed to be our manager. Let's be honest. He's not. He's interim. If you're not taking it game by game, not understanding that these players aren't going to be able to apply his concepts, and we're probably going to have to get new players if we want to play the style of football he wants. If you can't take that in, then cool, that's fine. Be upset. But my point is like, you're literally sitting here and you're depressed about shit that you already know. You already knew coming in that we haven't been playing great football. You already knew that we were having trouble applying. You already know that our players are down in the dumps. And every week you're upset. So it's cool. I get it. Be upset. But I'm saying I'm not going to be. I'm going to look at it every game. I'm going to go game by game. And I'm going to go, hopefully, we start looking better. We start applying the manager's tactics. If we don't, I know he's in.
That's extreme.
No, hold on. Let me finish real quick. And then the one more thing I'm going to say is this whole Rashford looks depressed. Bruno doesn't look. Of course they look depressed. Of course they look sad, dude. They're athletes who expect the utmost of themselves. Rashford has never gone a season at Manchester United since he's come in not scoring in double figures. This guy has put up 40-something goals, over 30-something assists over the last 2 seasons. And people are like, yo, why does he look so sad? You fucking stupid. Of course, of course he looks sad. Of course he's depressed. Like, of course this kid is down in the dumps. He's 20-something years old and he's playing the absolute worst football of his life. He loves the club. He loves the club. He lives and dies it. He's more meant than probably anybody in that room. But the truth is, he's playing like trash and he knows it. And we have all these fans going at him being like, yo, why is this guy so sad? It's like, maybe it's because he holds himself to the standard that you all are holding him to and he can't handle it. And I'll say this, another thing, today, one thing he did that really pissed me off, and I'll say this right now that upset me. He was pissed off when Greenwood didn't pass him that ball. That's why he didn't run for that ball. That's why he wasn't in position. He gave up, and that's the first time I've seen him do that, and that is inexcusable. That's the only thing I'll say is inexcusable. Him being upset, come on, guys. Like, he's going to be upset. He's going to be. It's just, like, what do you expect?
The only thing I'd say to that is there's one thing I'm saying it's early. They can't apply the manager's tactics or whatever. But there's a whole other thing when they're consistently flopping 5-yard passes, consistently flopping every opportunity to make a good pass in the final third. They're flopping it. Like, you can't be happy at these performances.
Cam, we're getting outplayed by every single team we face. We played Norwich, Newcastle, Burnley,
Norwich.
The bottom
Wolves.
of the barrel, bro. And I
good teams.
understand your point. I understand your point by saying I choose to look at it a different way. There's no point in getting upset over something you know is going to happen. And I wouldn't watch it if you. It just doesn't work like that, man. It's a drug, right? We're all addicted to this club. We're all addicted to this sport.
I agree.
I understand where you're coming from. My view is very much this, though. Although I understand, like, when people try and banter me and say, oh my God, he's a bang average manager, I'm like, at the elite level, he is an average manager. That's why he isn't a manager. But we know how good a DOF he can be. However, if we don't make the top 4 and we go another year without trophies, the pressure next season mounts up again. And it's almost a case of what I was hoping for. In fact, no, what I want with a squad like this, and even with a person with the caliber of Ralph, is I want the football to start becoming better. I want us to play better football. And I believe we should be winning a lot more games than we are in a more sustainable style. Like, we have scraped 4-1-0. We've had 3-1-0 wins, a 1-1 draw, and a 1-0 and a 1-0 defeat. And all of those games could have been defeats for us. There hasn't been a single performance since we played Arsenal where you kind of come off the pitch and you think, okay, there's something there. We can grow from it. And I'm worried that if this season could end so badly, we're on a downward spiral. We start next season already on a bad foot. Like, I don't want to be playing Conference League football on a Thursday night, bro.
I'm not watching.
So Terry,
but
that's
sorry, it's not happening, bro. I'm sorry.
You know I watch all the shows, and you always talk about fans, and I agree with this. I'm a big proponent of fans like not showing up to games. Like, if you really want to protest, that's how you do it. Like, for sure, if we want to do tough love. Truthfully, Terry, if we don't make the top 4 next year, like, if you want to talk about tough love, maybe that is it. Maybe we do have to be that bad at some point to rebuild. Like, I'm not saying that's what I want, and I get it. I'm worried about that too. But if we're gonna say we truthfully don't believe in what's happening on the pitch, we need a whole bunch of new players and all this, then we come out of this, we make top 4, we hope for a new manager to come in, and everything stays the same. We're in a cycle, right? So something will have to give at some point. And for me, instead of, and the phrase you always use, throwing my toys out with the pram, every single game, there are going to be some games I'm going to look at it with let's wait till the next game. We play Aston Villa again, back to back. Hey, we got played off the park again. Listen,
you're chilling over there. We're going to.
I'm not scared because at the end of the day, we won today.
If you're appearing on camera with a mustache like that, you are a brave man. So that's why he's not scared.
Listen, and another thing, everybody's talking about robbery and such. It's like, that's what VAR's there for. Like,
that's cap, by the way. VAR did not rob anyone today.
Yeah,
VAR did not rob anybody today. So let's just stop.
I hear you on that. Cam, listen, brother, thank you very much for coming on as always. Really appreciate it, my guy. And we'll chat again soon. Big up yourself, bro. KJ coming on the show really soon. But I did want to ask you all that question because the viewers have been saying it. Aston Villa were robbed.
No, nonsense.
No.
You guys are all fools. I'm sorry, but what? No, nonsense.
Robbed of what, man? You can't just come run into, like, literally stand. You was tracking Cavani the whole way.
Bro, he literally looked at him. He was not
tracking
facing the play whatsoever.
him. You knew what he was doing.
He's
You know what's
his own
mad?
goal.
I thought the whole initially the whole VAR decision was because of the goal
I think
and like the whole controversy around it. If it was due to the goal, then I think the goal should have stood because Watkins didn't get a touch on it, in my opinion. But the foul incident, yeah, that is a foul.
It's a
That's
foul.
not a
It's
decision.
Blocked him off.
Yeah.
It's a easy decision.
Yeah, typing robbery in all caps, by the way, won't change it. Doesn't make your point any more correct.
Look, I look at it from this point of view. When it happened in real time, it was one of those weird sort of it was one of them weird sort of moments where I was watching the game but thinking to myself, there's something about that goal.
I saw something at the corner of my eye.
Yeah, there was that moment. It looked a bit offside. Gerrard didn't really celebrate. If you watch it, Gerrard didn't.
He was trying to be hard all game, though. You see when he walked down, he starts looking at the script.
But he's obviously getting so much. We couldn't hear it because we didn't understand that. He must have been getting so much stick all game. But he didn't really celebrate. The players, they were looking around. There was a feeling that the goal might not be given, and we didn't have commentary on in here. I love football without commentary because you have to make your own mind up. You're not being influenced by somebody else's opinions as such. And as soon as I thought it might have been offside, I thought it touched the foot anyway. And then as soon as I saw it, what made me think it was a foul on Cavani is the way the guy was looking at him and tracking him and stood in his way. You can't do that in football. It is a foul. So for me, I understand why people think it was robbery. But no, you would be screaming for that not to be given against your team if it did. Interestingly, though, was the other one. So Luke Shaw obviously caught someone in the face with a trailing arm. He was bleeding. His nose had to be patched up. There's blood everywhere, claret everywhere. Like, do you think the ball was in play when that happened as well? Prime, should that have been a penalty and maybe a yellow or second? I think it might have already been booked. So a second yellow maybe for Luke Shaw?
It's weird. I don't think the initial what Luke Shaw did, I don't think that should be a foul. But the fact that he's bleeding, I think that's what makes it worse. And that's what people would make them think that it should be given as a penalty, but I don't think it is. It's just the fact that he's bleeding, which is like maybe I need to see it back again, but I don't know why he would be bleeding or what would have happened to him to be bleeding. I think that's the bad thing.
Just hold that.
Yeah, you do.
Just
I
hold
would
that.
say this though. I would say this
that.
though about Villa. Honestly, I remember when Gerrard first got appointed, and Terry asked me what was my opinion on it, and I said it's a weird appointment for me because what can he really do at Villa to because he wants the Liverpool job? What can he do to make him actually deserve it? Because he would get it based on what he's done as a Liverpool player. What can he do at Villa to make him a worthy Liverpool candidate? What he is doing at Villa in these first few weeks is highly impressive.
Yeah.
His side is playing much better football in such a short amount of time compared to what they were doing under Dean Smith. And tonight they weren't robbed, but they were the better team. And they maybe feel hard done by. But for me, VAR was fair tonight. I didn't think there were any calls that Villa fans should feel outraged over, but they were the better team.
On that Gerrard point, just quickly on that Gerrard point in terms of what he's doing at Villa, he's turned Villa around in a short amount of time than like obviously he came back, but even from early in the earlier Villa games that he was managing, you could see he's implementing the style of play and they're creating chances a bit more defensively solid. I can't like in terms of preparing himself for that Liverpool job, he's doing the right things. He's doing the right things. I always said if he takes Villa to Europa League, maybe a deep run in Europa League, that Liverpool job is his. It's going in the right direction.
Yeah, Gerrard is doing a good job. They play good attacking football. You got to play in a. I'm not comparing it to Klopp per se, but they press well. Yeah. They win the ball back high up the pitch. They're high intensity, and it's attacking football. And he has a clear. He has a clear. What was interesting about football is I was thinking about this the other day when people was about what's someone's style of play. There's only a handful of ways to play football. You sit back, absorb, and counter. You press high, or you there's only 2 or 3 ways for me of playing football. I don't think there's a list of 27 different philosophies that you can pick from. There's a handful. Some might, as far as I can see, but you can see Gerrard, he wants to attack, he wants to be aggressive, he wants to win the ball high.
I think a bigger thing for managers is if you're consistent with your philosophy. So with Ole, we saw sometimes he said he was gonna be on the front foot, but then he'd go counter-attack it, then he'd play 3 at the back. If you're as a manager, you know what you want to do. And you decide, okay, I'm going to be on the front foot. I'm going to press them. Yeah. I want to be in control of the match. And you consistently do that. That makes you a good manager.
But sometimes as a manager, you shouldn't be so stubborn. There are certain times you might need to adapt. And I know Ollie probably isn't the best example of this. But certain times, in certain games or certain situations, you do have to be able to adapt.
Yeah, you should, and that's why when Man United used to play Man City, we got results quite regularly. Ollie's record at times, could be quite good. We played Liverpool a few times at home, namely under Ollie, and did quite well because we had to adapt our game that day because we weren't as good as them. The problem is when you're Man United without our players, you shouldn't be for a single second changing your team when you're playing Burnley. Per se, because you should be good enough at football, irrespective of their tactics and their kind of heart, the way they play their low block, long ball. Yep. They should be changing what they do for you. Sit a little bit deeper, whatever it may be. But Villa, Villa, when I saw Villa play City and Liverpool, they attacked. They didn't press as regularly. They weren't as aggressive. They didn't leave as much space in behind because they knew if you went toe to toe with Man City in that way, you were going to get pound 5-6-0. Liverpool can do the same thing to you. So Gerrard knows about that already. But in terms of the game today, Gerrard will be he'll say publicly the VAR saved Man United. He'll say all those things, and he'll probably mean them to a degree. Privately, he'll be saying to his players, "Well done for the performance." But you've got to be more clinical. And you look at the players that are coming into that club now. You've got Lucadinha coming in, fingers crossed for them. Coutinho is an interesting one. You throw 2 or 3 more star players. If you stick Cavani in that Villa team today, they score some of them chances. You throw 2 or 3 of our best players on top form in that Villa team today, and they win that game hands down. And we go to Villa Park at the end of this week. And honestly,
we might get embarrassed.
We could. This could be the game. Like I said, we've got a hiding on the way, and this could be the one. I'm getting KG on in just a second. We've got My Deezy backstage as well. I've got some more super chats I've got to do here. First one here from Deborah. Thank you so much for the donation. She said, "What's wrong with this team? Same as always. They all think they are the coach. They don't even try to implement Ralph's technique, which has always been really good. Prima donnas, every one of them, like PSG, is like PSG. And if that was my team, I'd run and hide. And look, I don't think you're too far wrong. Again, we don't know everybody's motivations. We don't know the reason that everybody looks dejected. It's probably a magnitude of reasons. Some it's came up. Maybe Rashford's just so disappointed in himself, but he's got to get out of that slump. Like, I might be disappointed with my performance at work one day. It doesn't mean, okay, my reaction to that is to be grumpy on my next stream. Like, it's almost, I need to be better. You know what I mean? Like, I had a rant the other day. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't go that far, even though I was annoyed. Like, what you don't do to rectify is do the same rant the next show again at somebody else. Like, that for me is what Rashford's doing. Deborah, thank you so much for the donation. Costa Chow, says, Terry, my guy. I love that he says that and he's from Doncaster, but he says that, Terry, my guy, I feel Man United got away with that. Something isn't right with Rashford too. Can't wait for Rovers to lose again on Saturday. Can I call in? Saturday, yes, you can, my friend.
A little bit of Galbraith ball.
Galbraith, yeah, exactly. Rangnick's decision-making is sus to me. It's like he's happy to air the players out to dry on the pitch. Delo was playing whilst bleeding. This is so sad. I've been playing while bleeding. That's just football, bro. Like, I remember doing slide tackles on icy, hard pitches as a kid. You bleed, you just carry on. But look, he has made some poor decisions, hasn't he? I mean, you were saying it in the game, Lias.
Listen, everyone knows I was one of the guys who was desperate to see this guy succeed. I'm still desperate to see him succeed. I think he's going to do a great job or a good job once he moves upstairs. But honestly, the coaching job that he has put on in the last few weeks is trash. It's really, really bad. And I think the way he described it right there, the fact that it looks like he's just happy to let these players fail on the pitch. He's not a proactive manager in that he sees a problem and he changes it.
That's it.
That's the biggest issue for me because, okay, whatever, you can choose the wrong team. Your team can start wrong. You can set up wrong. But to just look at the problems that are so evident, we're getting outplayed by every single team, and to just sit on your seat and just let it play out, it reminds me of Van Gaal. That's honestly what it reminds me of right now.
Yeah.
I think some of these guys are just maybe I'm tarring Rangnick too quickly, but again, when you're so ingrained in your idea, you're thinking eventually this is gonna work. So he's not ready to make changes, but it's so clearly not working. I think at some point in the second half, we had 37% possession. 37% possession. It's just not working. Like, you need to change something.
Finished, toxic, over the hill, old. Are these sort of the words they're trying to say about Rangnick?
I mean,
I
that's
mean, I wouldn't say it's top. I don't think.
Can you put that super chat back up, by the way?
What about your
Yeah, go ahead. Put it back up.
this one here?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for your money. Thank you. We'll be using that quite well. Second of all, I've seen you've been adding me quite a lot tonight. So thank you for allowing me to live in your head rent free all night. Second of all, or third of all, doesn't matter. Messi has been better than Ronaldo this season. Doesn't matter how many goals you throw at me. Messi has been the better player this year.
Cut his mic, Javern.
Oh,
Cut
yeah.
his mic.
Wait.
Messi has been
We're
better
not
than
getting into
Cristiano
the
Ronaldo
debate.
this
We're not getting into. We're not getting into it right now. We ain't got the time for that right now. But we haven't got the time for that right now. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are sponsored today by Boohoo Man. There is a link and my promo code in the description below. Go and check it out after the stream. Go have a little bit of a shop. There's lots available for you over there on their website. I have a little scroll down here. As you can see, lots of clothes, lots of things available. You get an extra 10% off of their clothing range with my discount code. So there's something over there that you fancy. They've got loads of stuff. And I know a lot of people are starting the gym. They have a really good active wear range as well, which I've just clicked on there. As you can see, that's not, it ain't loaded yet. But they've got a really good active wear range, as you can see. You've got loads of great stuff over here. If you've just joined the gym and you fancy training, I don't look like that. Wish I did. But there we go. Get yourselves across to that once you're done on this stream. Get your discounts in and go from there. I'm going to get KJ on that to have his say with us. I know he's been waiting very patiently for a while. KJ's on, people. Yes, brother. What do you want to say, bro?
I have not been this sad about a win, I think, since we beat Spurs 3-0, knowing that Ollie was still going to be here. Honestly, that was a disgraceful performance. I don't care if we won. I'm happy we won. But at the same time, it just highlights the issues that are at this football club. I want to start with Marcus because what I saw today is something I've actually never seen from him. He's a player that I love, a player that I support and I still believe in. I know a lot of people are done with him. They think it's finished, not looking forward to seeing him play. They want him sold, X, Y, Z. That. You guys can have that opinion. I understand. I'm not going to fight you about it. But I'm still a person that believes in Marcus Rashford. I still think there's a place for him at Man United and he can still grow as a player. What I saw today, especially that second half, first half, he was kind of building on at least something. He was doing things he wasn't doing recently. It was one of his brighter performances in the first half. Then the second half came and you saw the weight that he's clearly put on himself throughout this entire time. You saw the weight that he has to carry the team, that he has to be the hero like he's been to the nation. To many people, he's been a hero. Now he's trying to do it on the pitch. He's doing way too much. And when he came off, you saw a man that he cared so much and rates. He carries the standard of Man United that highly upon himself that he knows that wasn't good enough. He already knows that that performance was abject, poor. And when I saw him leave that ball after Greenwood decided to shoot it across, that's when I was like, wait a sec, what's going on here? Because I've never seen him do that. I've never seen him give up a chance to try and score and make Man United go better. So clearly he is not in the right mental space. And I know Cam was saying, of course, he's going to be depressed. He's not playing well. This is not just I'm angry at myself because I haven't played well. This is more than that. The way you're sitting, the way my man was sitting on that bench is more than just I haven't played well. There's something mentally going on in there. You can tell there's a weight on his shoulders. You can tell there's a pressure on him that he's trying to live up to, and he can't right now. And he needs the time out of the way of the team. He needs time to re-go and find himself. And he needs time to go and find the love of football. All the Man United players do. Every single Manchester United player looks like they hate football. They look like they hate what's going on at the club. They look like they hate the sport that they grew up loving and striving to be the best in the world. All of them look like that. Mason Greenwood looks like that. Champions League Varane looks like that. How? How is this happen? How does every single footballer at this football club look like they hate the sport that they loved as a child? I don't get it. And my only answer is that Manchester United Football Club are the virus. Jose was right. There was a virus at Manchester United, but it wasn't the Pogbas, the Martials, the Rashfords, whoever you thought it was. It's the club itself. The club itself is the virus. It's seeping in. It's seeped into Varane already. It's seeped into Ronaldo. Seeped into Sancho. It's seeped into flipping Rangnick, and he's been here for 5 weeks. His management is cowardly. He looks stressed. He looks like a man under pressure already. It's been 5 weeks. He's an interim. He already knows he's not going to be here. But so why is he stressed? Because his football club is the virus, and we as fans don't help. Because people are gonna sit here yesterday, the day before, saying, "Oh, we shouldn't abuse players. We should support players. We need to help them get through." And then when our players are dropping poor performances, what do we revert back to? The same old abuse, the same old kind of attack. What Man United as our entire entity, the club, the players, the manager, the fan base, it is toxic, it is rotten, and it all needs to get knocked down and start again.
Do you know what's interesting about you saying that? Again, rivals definitely don't want to hear it. If it's a player that you don't rate, you don't want to hear it. But in all intents and purposes, it is psychological with a lot of these individuals. The weight and the expectation that some players will have on themselves. The level of, I've been speaking about this for 2 years on socials, and people don't want to have it. We get more and more players that come out and speak about how social media, and forget abuse people get, the criticism they get. A lot of them want to react to it and they want to do better, but it's the pressure on that. I looked at Rashford's face, and as much as I think he needs to be dropped, as much as I'm not happy with his performance, as much as I support a lot of the criticism that he's getting and agree with the vast majority of it, but I saw a player's face that was like, I'm disappointed, I'm annoyed at myself, but also there's an element of, and I'm going to face a barrage of crap. And I don't know what it feels like to get the level. Remember, Marcus Rashford is the second most highest abused football player, a sportsman in the world online. Only LeBron James gets more. And I'm talking negative tweets like you were poor tonight, you were rubbish tonight, you formed these. I'm talking about being called pejoratives and nasty, like aggressive tweets as an example being aimed at him. None of if you actually want Rashford to get better, yes, you need to speak honestly about him, but giving him abuse, chastising him, memeing him. If you're a Man United fan, by the way, I just don't think that's the right way to go. After a period of time, there's only so many times you can rant and say it isn't good enough. All we're doing is making these players worse. I really do think we're not making them better. It isn't helping them the way they're being treated. But that's why I also think there's something that Fergie did a good few times with Wayne Rooney. Took him out the firing line. I remember him sending him off to a 2-week training camp in America. They said to get fit. I don't even think it was to get physically fit. I think it was to get things out of his head. There's a time after some things come out in the newspapers, the next game, it was almost like coincidence, was away at Everton. Fergie didn't even have in the match. It was like, no way am I putting you after those newspaper reports in front of your old fans. They're going to cook you. And I think we've got to be smart. Like I want Rashford dropped first and foremost for Man United because he isn't good. But on top of that, I want him out the firing line for himself. Let him take a little bit of a break, recharge his batteries, get it out his head. You know, we brought a psychologist into the club as well. What is he doing? Like, he has to be able to manage this, because the one thing is this. I can say it to him blue in the face. Online abuse won't ever go away, and people won't stop criticizing him online. The other option is stay off social media for a while as well. Don't buy a newspaper. Like, Marcus Rashford can also take action in this as well. I think it's a combination of everything that's going on that's leading to this. But the reason why I say we have to look for a solution, and even if you don't like Rashford as a player, you've got to find a compromise, is that, you know, there is a possibility that if we maybe just got off his back for a few weeks, he could be back to his best. And we should all want him back to his best, right? I don't know if that's a weird thing to say or not, but surely every Man United fan wants Rashford at his absolute best.
But that's the issue with football now and football fandom. Once you've made your mind, that's it. You can't change. Once you decided you don't like a player, that's it. You can't back them anymore. Today, Bruno Fernandes, when I say I wanted to square up to man's face and have a nice little one-to-one, like I wanted to do that today. I've never... Fam, the day. By the way, Cavani and Bruno were worse than Rashford in that first half. If Rashford didn't have that second half, they would have been my worst players of the day. But that's not the point. I wanted to square up to my guy. But after that, I need to be like, right, how do I make this better? Because me wanting to fight him ain't gonna change a thing. Like, really and truly, and that's the thing. Man United fans, yes, I know Rashford, it may not be your favorite player. You may not like the way he plays. You may not like all these different things about him, but every 2 seconds, finding a way to compare him to Martial. Every 2 seconds, trying to find a way for Pogba to be compared to Bruno. These are the things that make it even harder for our team to gel. Do you think flipping Mane and Salah are doing fighting each other? Because the fans both love them. They may have a preference, cool, but they don't have the entire size of the fan base trying to beat them down with their teammate. And that's all we do as United fans. And right now, this club is legit so broken that it needs to be started again. To the point where I'm like, pick who you want your manager to be. I've got to the point where I don't flipping care because I don't trust whoever comes in anyway. Not because they're bad managers, just because the way it's run. But if I had my way, you pick the manager. You say to every single player who is there at Manchester United, I'm talking about everyone, from the youth academy, the under-9s, all the way up to the first team. If you don't want to be here, you can go. And I will take the hit. I wouldn't care about getting 30 million, the 40s, the 50s. You take the hit. Take a hit on every single player who don't want to be there. And you build again from the bottom. Start the structure again. Start everything again. Because that's what we need. We're about to send Ahmad on loan. Potentially Elanga on loan. We've already sent out Gail Brave, as we mentioned earlier. James Garner, who we saw play excellent against Arsenal. And Ethan Laird, who's having a great season in the Championship. And then also Mengi's just gone out. Bring them back. Because right now, this club don't need more techie players. We've got enough.
Mate,
we need players willing.
No, you're right. Louis here says, when will you United fans just admit players are overrated and simply aren't as good as you think? Stop blaming everything but the player's ability.
What?
I don't think nobody.
No one has ever done, like, no one is doing that here. KJ literally just spent 30 minutes talking about, never mind.
I look. There are, it's about saying they're overrated or not. Man United, this is when you deep Man United. We've had players at this football club in the last 9 years, like Angel Di Maria, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Paul Pogba's another example that everywhere he is outside of Man United, he's pretty much consistent. That fail at this football club. Memphis came in, goes away, does well, gets himself a move to Barca. That's probably the worst time in history to ever go to Barca, but he built himself up and did very well in France. There's a clear problem at Man United with the development and the pressure that are on players. Just to say that they're simply overrated, I think is too much of an overreaction. Because if it is all the players that are overrated, then people like yourself, Mr. Las Vegas, because you comment on a lot of our videos and I respect you watching. I remember all your derogatory comments about Ollie his coaching was PE teacher. So if it's the players that are overrated, then we should be out here apologizing to these managers. Of course, some of these players have flaws within their game. Nobody is denying there are not flaws within these football players' games, but they are better than this because we've seen them for prolonged periods of time perform better than this, in my opinion. There was another comment here, but thank you for the comment. This here from Speaking Facts. It says, Terry, it's not expectations. It is that is bordering these average British players. They just don't have the qualities for any top club to accept it. But again, you're going down the British route. So you're acting like some of our foreign contingent, and I say foreign, don't have British passports. You're someone speaking facts that speaks about how bad Bruno's qualities are. You spoke about how bad a number of quality players are. It's not about British. It isn't about foreign. It isn't about all the players are overrated. Because if we're all overrated, you guys were talking about Man United fans should have higher expectations at the beginning of the season. Now you're saying that we shouldn't. I am confused. So there we go.
Also, sorry, if a lot of these or all of these English players or British players are just overrated, why do you then have high expectations of them and you get angry that they don't perform to set expectations? Doesn't make sense to me. If they're average, they're average, and don't expect them.
If they're all average and our management's average, then Man United are in a good position this year. Tonight was a good result. This average team did well to hang on to a superior team, but no one's saying that. So for me, it's a case of you either criticize it how it is and you lower Man United's expectations. So if we're overrated, then you lower our expectations. But if our expectations are high, that means you obviously think that our players are good. We have some more super chats that came in here. KJ versus Bruno. on the Jake Paul undercard. Liaz is relying on people not watching PSG, and everyone's watching the Prem. Messi has been so bad,
Facts, yeah.
getting 3.5 ratings in the French papers. Liaz is abhorrent.
You know,
Abhorrent, you know.
I actually pulled up. I saw that comment live in the flesh. I pulled up his sofa score numbers, his ratings for the last month, and there isn't one below 7.5.
That's so.
Okay. What are
Hold on. So where's he getting his 3.5 rating?
From the French newspapers.
Can you the ones that are out of like 5?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Who signs for Sunderland first,
Oh,
Rashford or Greenwood? But that's also the great point there that I would say about what KJ was saying, and I will defend. I think our players are better than some people are saying they are. However, Greenwood's starting to follow the same route as Rashford. But this was the guy that the same people saying Rashford's always been trashed, but like Greenwood is like light years in front of Rashford in terms of ability. Now he's younger and more inexperienced, so you expect more mistakes. But then if he's that much, it becomes like the Martial debate again. If these players are superior in every single which way to Rashford, why are their performance levels equally as bad in one way, shape, or form? That's what doesn't make sense to me. If your ability is 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, 100 times better, irrespective of the coaching, your performances should be. We saw it tonight at the back. Man United aren't playing well, but you saw the difference between Lindelof and Varane. You see the difference in quality between those two players for me. Listen, KJ, top man for coming on and having your say, brother. Really appreciate it, bro. We'll speak to you again soon. Thank you. Next on the show, Oh My Deezy is here with us now. What are you saying, brother?
All right, G, how you feeling?
Weird. I feel weird tonight. I feel weird.
Same. I have a theory. I've had so many theories while I've been watching. I was watching the watch along, and obviously I've been watching the show, and I've had so many theories. And I think my first theory is at United we've developed hero syndrome, and such is the United curse at the moment that everybody. The talk of the past is so prevalent and the glory was so distinct that at this point everybody's focused on how far off the pace we are from that. So literally all the players on the pitch, they're like, I'm gonna be the one to do it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's leading to a lot of selfishness and the lack of cohesion in the team. I think that's my first theory. My second theory, I think that the game is won and lost in the midfield. And as good as sometimes Scott and Fred are, I'll say they'll have a good game and have a bad game the next 3 or 4 or 5. And that's not a good platform to build off going forward. And I think that's how you end up with Greenwood becoming more like Rashford. Because what's the common theme since Fergie left? We haven't had a functional midfield for real. So what I mean by that is when Rashford came into the team, we didn't have a midfield, so the forwards were starved of chances for real. So then the forward doesn't get a chance to realize that today's not his day, today's not his game. So let me pass it to somebody else because they're looking at it like I'm gonna get 1-2 chances this game. I have to shoot because if I don't, I'm not getting another chance, and that's just what it is. And I think that's how you end up with Greenwood, Rashford, Martial, Ronaldo, Cavani, all of them becoming like if you look at their goal output, all of them have tanked. And I think that's one of the.
Mate, that's a really interesting theory. I mean, there's a comment here that says the glory days have been gone for nearly a decade, so that theory is dead. But listen, the glory days have gone, but the expectations every season are for us to deliver those glory days. And every year that goes by, that pressure, if you're a rival looking, you're not, I'm going to be blunt with you, rivals are not going to feel it. And fans feel it, but the players feel it even more. It's an interesting, I've had this conversation with Lee Gunner a few times around, we all want to get back to winning Premier Leagues. I've said this to Arsenal fans for years, and maybe the first season where the majority don't have high expectations, they're actually starting to perform a little bit better. Maybe Man United fans and the club and everybody just need to, as KG said, knock it all down and start again. But that means you drop your expectations in the short term. You know, I remember if we're like some of the other comments said, where all our players are overrated. Cool. Let's say that Lewis is right or Louis is right. We're all overrated. We've got to start again. All 23 have got to go. How can we have the expectations next year of coming top 4? when you're starting from scratch. But the problem is we don't. As a club, let's just say I don't like the idea of a rebuild, but I'm playing hypotheticals here because that's the only thing we've got. We don't know what's going on. We're fans. We're theorizing. That's what fans do. And we're fanatical about it, i.e. fan. If we start rebuilding next year, everybody's expectations have to be instantly lowered. You might go, okay, every season my expectations are going to grow. But you can't go like the start of the rebuild. It can't be got to be challenging for that Premier League, got to be as good as City. But we put that pressure on everybody. We as fans also need to take an element of responsibility here and say, okay, next year I expect these improvements. And it's got to be a slow burner. Man United, I'm not comparing it to Fergie's era, but he had to slowly get there. Liverpool rebuild under Klopp took a little bit of time. You know, we praise some of the teams that have come that are smaller, the Brightons and the Leicesters and the Wolves and what they've done. It's been years to get to the points they're in now where we're going, wow, look what they've built. They didn't do it in one summer. But the problem is, as fans, we never are going to have we're never going to have that. Now, there's a comment here that says, be consistent. I've got to react to this. I'm very sorry. It says, be consistent, Terry. Lee Gunner demanding for a title after rebuild. But that's Lee Gunner, Martin. That isn't me.
You said you back him, though.
No, I don't back him. If you actually watch the shows, I turn around to Lee and say, should you not have step change? You can't go from being 8th to title winners when you haven't won a title for nearly 20 years. I literally say that on every show. I understand his expectations, but that's one element that I think he has wrong. It's about steady progression back to that. You know, and he just, again, I actually can't believe you said that. If you watch the shows, Martin, I'm very sorry to say this, my bro. Maybe you don't like Lee, and because he's on there the whole time, you're not really listening. But I definitely have not backed that notion that they should just be able to win a title straight away. Never.
You know what it is, though? I think. Oh, sorry, go on.
Sorry, if all these players are bad and average, and Ollie's also a terrible manager, how did you guys finish second and third?
This is my thing. My thing is, I don't think that the pressure to achieve at United is ignorable. Similar, the pressure to achieve at Real Madrid, they could fall off a cliff. They still have pressure to achieve. Similar to Barcelona, similar to Juve, similar to Liverpool. You can't ignore it because the stature of the club is just that. It's like on that echelon of thingy. But have you ever noticed, like, whenever United go top of the league for like maybe 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case is, Sky Sports roll out the red carpet, and now you got Pogba doing interviews talking about their expectations for the season. You got Rashford doing interviews and all that sort of stuff. See, that you can't ignore that, and I think that's part of the problem.
Do you know what would happen as well, Dizzy? If Rashford came out at the start of the season and said, look, I'm hoping for 5 or 6 goals this year, and hopefully we can at least finish in the top 6. The same United fans that say, but you're overrated and trash would say, how dare you have such low expectations? The consistency from fans is never, ever there. And I think that's one thing fans can do is have consistency. If you think, there's a super chat that says, realistically, based on quality of the players, where should United be in the Premier League? Like, what would you say to that, Dizzy? Where should United be based on the quality of this squad, in your opinion? All things being equal.
Here's the thing. I my position remains the same from the start of the season. I said we did the show in the summer, and I said that I was saying that a title challenge isn't unrealistic for this team, given where we were the seasons prior and how it was building up, given the added quality that you added. I don't think it was an unrealistic expectation to say, you know what, this team could go on and win the league or win something at least. How it's unfolded now, I feel like the players have given up on the season for real. So honestly, we could end up anywhere. We could end up in the top 4. We could end up in 12th. But with the quality of players that we have, minus the midfield, because I stand firm in my opinion that the midfield is ass, I think we finish realistically, I think 4th, 5th is a realistic expectation, I think.
Yeah, listen, I said at the start of the season, like, outside of the banter and messing around on the Bet Victor show, I felt the squad 4th because actually at the time the manager wasn't there. But there are holes in everybody's squad. City have just, again, been absolutely brilliant. We thought there was a hole because of the striker situation. Liverpool have got holes. We've seen them drop. Liverpool won a Premier League game in 3 matches now. Chelsea have had their blip that's almost taken them out of a title race. Everybody's got holes in their team, and you're right. We raised the expectations, and it was that raising of expectations last season that
it undone them.
The undone them. I think that the pressure absolutely absolutely cook them. It's such an interesting comment here from Craigie, which I love. He says, this channel has turned into football politics. Fans can do this, fans can't do that. Always putting fans down. I don't always put football fans down, but we're a fan channel. We focus on the football, and what the Football Terrace has always done is focus on fan opinion. And if you're listening to fan opinion, there has to be an element of judgment upon that opinion as well, because I believe fans are powerful. I believe fans, what they say and they do, their attitudes and behaviors can improve or damage a player, a squad, a coach, a club morale. So I think it's very important to focus on what players are doing. I say what I think you should and shouldn't do because I've got an opinion. You, Craigie, just like your comment there, you're free to give your opinion on what should and shouldn't happen. And you're essentially suggesting that we shouldn't be saying what fans are doing right. But when professional football players have done an abundance of interviews saying that the stuff that they read about themselves or they get sent or DM'd has impacted their performance, their mental health, to not speak about it for me is criminal. To have that conversation is mad. And I don't believe Man United's issues is overtly ability. I don't think it's overtly management. I think a big percentage of it, 30-40%, is very much based on the pressures that are applied by the media, by the club, its historical ties, and as Deezy said, the fan pressure that comes on. It's absolutely. I think for me to ignore it would be abysmal, really.
Thanks. And confidence is wafer thin right now. It will look there for like 5-10 minutes, but as soon as the up gives any sort of pressure, it's over with. Confidence through the floor.
Yeah, facts. We had 15 minutes where we were on top and we were pressing them. And as soon as Aston Villa came back into the game, it was like, oh, what do we do now?
Squeaky bum time for 80 minutes.
It's like embarrassing that you can't react to pressure. You can't react to pressure in a way where you can get control of the ball back. We can get control of the match back. As soon as somebody puts it back on you, you go into your shell. As a top, you're supposed to be a top club, top players. You can't be scared as soon as somebody puts it back on you. That's why every team, when they come to Old Trafford, nobody's scared to come to Old Trafford anymore. That fear factor we once had, gone. Every team comes to Old Trafford and kicks ball. It don't matter who you are, because you know if you put together a couple passes, if you press our midfield, you can win the ball back and get yourself in dangerous situations.
Right, quickly.
And the thing is, we've done that against teams like Young Boys. So that's why when people say it's ability, I refute that, because teams with midfielders that you would never want. If someone said the Young Boy central midfielder or McTominay, you'd pick McTominay. So it's not ability, it's a mentality thing. There's a great comment here from Winnipore, great challenge. It says, Terry, but you back the notion at the start of the season by expecting to fight for the title. Where's the logic? When my team finishes second and you buy one of the best centre backs, one of the best young creators, and one of the most prolific goal scorers of all time, going into your third season with the same manager, of course I expect the step change. Go back to my original point. Every season I expect my team to get better. When it reaches the pinnacle, you want your team to maintain an area of consistency with if there are going to be dips, you want them to be short-lived, like Man City 2 seasons ago. So to go from sort of scraping third and fourth to finishing fairly comfortably in second, the next evolution when you spend what we spend and you keep the majority of the squad together, we didn't lose Paul Pogba, is to go to that next level. The point we're saying is that maybe these players can't handle that pressure. Then you break that off into subsections, and it's some players, maybe for a short period of time, fans should just give them a little bit of a break to get their mentality right. Some individual players, irrespective of that break, may just not be able to handle the pressure of having to win at the most opportune moments. There's been great athletes and great sportsmen in a number of sports. And I always think of a famous snooker player called Jimmy White. Was always amazing, one of the best players out there, lost every final he was ever in because mentality got involved. Harry Kane barely scores or creates goals in semi-finals or finals. There is a mental block there. So Winnipore is a really good challenge, but the point is it isn't a simple one-sentence answer or one-size-fits-all. But you should always expect, when you spend what Man United do, when you have a second place finish and you invest well, to go to that next level. I don't think that's unreasonable. But what I'm saying is that pressure can crumble, can make people crack. But if you don't apply any pressure, then they'll never reach back to the top as well. Pressure either creates diamonds or it bursts pipes. You have to put a certain amount on, but there are times where you have to take your foot off the gas. There's only so many times I can go on a stream and rant about a particular person or manager in a certain way. You're saying the same thing 5, 6, 7 times on the bounce. I'm also not going to go on my phone now and start tweeting. Rashford ain't watching the show. I'm not going to take all my clips of me saying how bad he is and DM them to him every single day for a month. Like, that doesn't need to happen. And people do stuff like that. It's crazy to me. But thank you for the question and challenge, bro. Oh, my Deezy, top man for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, my guy. And we'll speak to you again soon.
There's a
Anytime.
Cheers, mate.
update, by the way. Rangnick confirmed today that 2 weeks ago, Dean Henderson asked him to leave United. Like, Dean Henderson asked to leave the club, and Rangnick told him no.
Told him no.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that not him supposed to? Was he not linked to Ajax or something on loan till the end of the season?
I have no idea, but Henderson has asked to leave the club, and Rangnick told him no.
A comment here says, but at the same time, Rangnick should have drilled that confidence in at half time. There are ways to boost morale. Management is key. And look, remember, we've got to remember at Rangnick, he is not an elite level manager of the peak of the top level. He is a director of football. So I understand your challenge is right. And he's got to be able to get that right. But he's the interim, and we're here till the end of the season. I'm looking beyond him for management points, but I do hear you on that. I think I might have missed a super chat. I think there might have been starred. I don't want to miss them. Yeah, cool. Prime.
Yeah.
In terms of, sorry, just man's going to toilet. We're letting him out. That's cool. It's all right. No problem. We'll come back to this super chat here. United fans need to change the name. Sorry, Manchester United need to change the name to Moving Goalpost FC and Theory FC. 9 years, no league title, no seasons, no trophies, doomed. But the point, I'll say to that, I get you, but what else are we meant to say? We're not allowed to give it's like, why are you so bad? We say why. It's like, you shouldn't have a theory. What would you say? We're trash then? Like, cool, we're crap.
Yeah.
End of the show.
Yeah.
2 minute match reaction.
Yeah, it's odd. If you say you're because again, Winterpool keeps spamming in the chat and stuff saying that something like, go back to the comments, something like, oh, well, you guys knew it was a false second, that Chelsea, City, Liverpool are miles ahead and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, if Terry or other United fans had said at the start of the season, this team clearly isn't good enough, we're going to struggle to make top four or whatever, we're out of the title race, fans would have said, oh, that's ridiculous. You can't say that. You have Ronaldo, you have this, you have that.
Winterpool's a great person. Winterpool was one of the people in the comments section when KJ said at the start of the season, I don't think we'll be in a title race because of the management and a few things in the squad. Winterpool and a lot of people like saying, no, you must have bigger expectations with the players that you bought. It's if our rivals think we're crap, then you shouldn't be bantering us for being where we are. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but nice try. We have another super chat that just came in here before the end of the show. That's why I've been missing some. Sorry. But it's okay. We already had that one that's come through there. There's another one that came through and I can't find it. Oh, that's because it's been started. Here it is. Terry, why do people hate Rashford so much? He wasn't great today, but he tried so hard, sometimes too hard, probably to his own detriment.
Oh, we already talked, I feel like we basically covered.
Yeah, we definitely covered that. And I think I do get where you're coming from, no doubt. Varchester United, I find it funny. Certain players are unhappy, but yet they also deliver. I get you on that. I do get you on that. I think we've had the rest. If we can put the rest of those up, the rest of those super chats have gone up already. Listen, everyone who has tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every one of you. Remember, we're sponsored by Boohoo Man. You get an extra 10% off of their products today if you go across to their website now and check that out. The links are in the description below or pinned into the live comment section. I'm going to go and buy myself some new gym stuff because I've got to seriously lose a little bit of weight after I counted because I bought all the food and we didn't have anyone come around because of what was going on. 12 pork pies over Christmas I ate, right? I had about 12 to 15 sausage rolls, 5 boxes of Pringles, plus so many dinners. I must have eaten about 10 bacon sandwiches as well. I put on just over a stone and a bit. So yeah, 15 stone 4. I've got to get myself. I want to get down to 13 stone this year. I'm actually going to lose quite a bit of weight.
13 stone is what in terms of pounds?
Sorry?
Talk to me.
Pounds. So stone is 4. So that's about 28 pounds.
Is 1 stone.
No, 14 pounds is a stone. So I put on like this. So I put on, I want to lose about 24, but sorry, 28, but I put on about 18, 19 pounds over Christmas.
Christ.
Love it there. Absolutely love it there. Absolutely love it. Someone said I missed the member chat super chat. The problem with the member chat super chat, they don't show up on StreamYard. That's all I can see right now. So I'm very, very sorry, my friend, that I did. Everyone that's tuned in, thank you. Check out the Boohoo Man site. Use my promo code. All the information is below. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. commiserations to Aston Villa. Well done, I suppose, for the result for Man United, but we'll